This is Tramp Scotty, and on the last couple of videos I did here, I talked a little bit about some of the camping methods I used. I'm sitting here with Michelle's doggy. Say hi, Tulane. And one of the first questions a lot of people ask me, people are real curious about how I managed to stay on the land and not have to pay and not use campgrounds and all that stuff. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about that right now. So we're at a different camp, obviously, because we're leaving. The last show is over. And we're heading for Sturgis today. We're in Ohio, and we've got a long ride ahead of us, man. We're going to start moving on today. So this camp we stayed at last night, and as you can see, we woke up in the middle of the night, and it was raining, and so we got up and strapped this big tarp over the entire camp. Now, I've had expensive tents, and I've had cheap tents, and the one thing I know about tents is they all leak, man. Maybe some of them are waterproof for a little while when they're new, but if you use them very often, like I'm doing, then they always begin to leak. Tarps are cheap and easy to replace, and so I always use the tarp. So we got out and stretched the tarp across the whole thing. One of the other advantages to that is in a heavy storm, when you're in there between the tent and the tarp, you feel like you have a lot of insulation from the storm, man, if you got to sit in there and wait out a heavy storm. So that's what we have here. If I'm alone, what I usually do is I usually have the tent facing towards the motorcycle so that when you cover it with the tarp, the door is facing the bike and you can get to everything that's on it and you can leave it open. So anyways, that's one of the things I do. Michelle found us this spot because she's been to this town before and I haven't. And it's a very nice spot. And if you look around, what I want to point out is that you can see that it's extremely private. You got to keep in mind, when I'm coming to camp, I'm not just camping for a weekend or on a camping trip. I'm coming home to my everyday home, and one thing that I want out of my home is privacy. I want to be able to walk out here naked and take a leak in the middle of the night, you know what I'm saying? And you can see, even though you can hear the freeway over there, we're completely insulated. We're completely private here. So that's one of the things to this camp. Another thing that's real nice about it is that she found us this abandoned road coming in here, and it's paved. So we're using this old basketball court here, and we got pavement below us, which is really a nice advantage because there's two things about that. One is you can get on this, you stay a lot cleaner, and I'm really not into being dirty, man. And the other thing is it helps knock the bugs down. When you're out, we're in the east, and the east has a lot of bugs, everybody knows. When you're out, when you're on a piece of pavement, it tends to knock that down. Another consideration to this camp that I want to talk about is knowing where the sun comes up. Because if I stay out in the Arizona desert or the flatlands, if it's in the summer, it's been really hot here lately. If it's in the summer, if I stay up late and then sleep in the desert or sleep on the ground, at 6 o'clock in the morning when that sun comes up, it's going to be like somebody put a 1 billion-watt light bulb directly on my bed. You know what I mean? It blows you, and the heat blows you out of bed. You can't sleep in, so you're forced to get up. Which I'm real lazy. I like to hang out in the mornings, and it's late morning by now, and screw around and wake up slowly. So what I tend to do is at night, I'll check the sky for the North Star, and I learned this from another guy, and if you check the internet, it'll tell you how to find the North Star, I'm sure. But anyways, once I find that, I can look at it, stick my right arm out, and it'll tell me where the sun's going to come up in the east, and I set the camp accordingly. This camp has been put here because we knew the sun would come up over behind these trees, and that gave us shade in the morning. Now right at this very moment it's behind a cloud, but if it wasn't, what you'd see is over there is blaring hot. If we would have put the camp out there, we'd have had to get up early and been blown out of there. In the winter time, I do exactly the opposite. I set the camp in the sun to try to catch that morning heat when you first wake up. Okay? Now I'm gonna move this here tarp. And the tarp's held down with bunchy cords. And what I always do is put the tent stakes separate from the tent so I can get to them. So when I do have to stake out a tarp, they're readily available. I just grab them. Okay, I'm going to get this tarp off of here. Something else I'll go over here is charging, and I'm going to show what I use for lighting. I'm sure there's a lot of different methods. I tried lanterns and stuff. None of that stuff worked for me. In the end, what I ended up with using only was a mini mag light. And I keep the mini mag lights. What I do is put those LED bulbs in them, man, because those things last a long time on your batteries. It lasts like forever. I mean, forever, man. And so you see me, there's always a mini mag light on my hip, because when a normal person comes home, they walk in the door and hit the light switch. When I come home, it's dark. So what I keep is one of them headbands. Hey, wait a see, I got one of them. One of these headbands that puts the thing on your head, and anybody who's ever used a headlight knows that when you put one of them on, everywhere you look there's light. So it's like you want to read anything you need to do, you got to do something with your bike, get something out of it, there's always light. One of the problems that I think that I've found with the headlights is you're not wearing them on your hip, man. So when it's dark and you get home, you got to rifle through your bike to try to find the damn thing without any light to find it with. Another thing is I'm constantly using the mag light at night, trying to fix something on the bike or trying to find something. I'm out in the parking lot outside of a restaurant rifling for something, so it's easily available. That's what I use. So over here I want to talk a little bit about charging systems and electrical stuff. This might work good for a lot of people actually. For these lights, what I actually use is one of these cigarette lighter chargers, see? Put these little batteries in it. And God, the things last forever too, man. And what I got is, I got a cigarette lighter that's just dropped in the trunk. Michelle's has dropped into her saddlebag. And I used to mount them a long time ago. I used to mount the cigarette lighter on the outside of the bike, but then you have a cord coming out of it. You want to charge your cell phone, you want to charge your batteries. This line here also charges my computer, which has a 9-hour battery in it, so I can use it at home. But so anymore I don't put them on, mount them on the side of the bike. What I do is run them from the battery hot. You want the thing coming in hot and drop it into the saddlebag so that you can plug in whatever it is you need to charge and drop it in the bike. You don't want it on the switch line, man. These things don't pull enough power. These kind of things, cell phone chargers, don't pull enough power for your battery to notice. You want to run the line hot into here, drop it in. You can charge 20 cell phones and your engine will still start. There's plenty of extra power. You don't want to have to ride the bike. You want to be able to put it in, drop it, go to bed, wake up, and have it charged. And so that's what I do. That's what I use. These are some of the methods that I know. Another one I wanted to talk about that I kind of forgot a minute ago is the dew factor, okay? This is something I learned a long time ago when I was a kid. I was working at a carnival. I was trying to be a carny, which and it didn't work out for me. But anyways, I was working with a guy who was sleeping out all the time. And one of the things that I learned is if you put your camp out here, when I wake up, a lot of times I'll just sleep on the ground without the tent. You know, I'll wake up and everything's wet, man. But it doesn't take much to block dew. If you slide your camp right back underneath a tree, sleep under the tree here, then if I was to sleep over there, I'd wake up in the morning and everything around me would be dry. Out here, everything's wet. So in heavy dew areas, it's real nice to have your camp put underneath something. What we want to try to do is use the land to my advantage. Use the land to block the elements, man, and to give me some more shelter. So almost anything you can get under. Now this camp didn't work out that way, but we decided to just take the dew on the tent, and we ended up having to wake up in the middle of the night because it was raining anyway. And so that's a real good thing to know, is waking up where it's dry, because I live here, man, and I'm very much a homebody. I think I said that in the last video. And so that's all I can think to talk about right now. There's some of the methods that I use, and we are going to be off to, don't push that button yet. We are going to be off to Sturgis here. We've got to get up, pack this camp, and hit the road. Here, we're going to film Michelle for a minute. Here's Michelle. Oh, she's not going to let us. Here, I'll kick her here. Say hi, Michelle.
Hi.
So anyways, there's her little bike, and there's Tulane, and we're all traveling together for Sturgis. And we will be staying in camps just like this one all across the country. I do the same thing in Canada and in Mexico. And we got to get out of here. The sun's hitting our camp. You can see it now. It's starting to hit our camp. So we're getting the hell out of here. We're looking forward to this ride. And